It is no secret that most men that lift weights don't actually get results. And I can even say that from experience. I've grappled now for about 7 years. I've lifted for about 18 years. And I can categorically say for 12 of those years, didn't get any results. So today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 lifting principles in which grapplers need to have to ensure that they can absolutely get the most from every second that they spend lifting weights. Because if you don't do this, you're literally just wasting your time, and that is the last thing that I want from this video. So what I'm going to cover today is the 7 ultimate lifting principles, and if I've missed any, drop them in the comments below. Where I fell short specifically regarding these principles and what had the most negative impact on my training, and then at the end of the day it comes down to your choice. So for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green. My experience on these matters spans from training thousands of elite soldiers in the British Army. I also coach grapplers online through my longevity program, which is an online coaching service where I have blokes with all different issues going on and we get through them. So, principles number 1 to 4, right? Remember, grappling is the priority. Because, and what I mean by priority, you have to grapple more than you are lifting weight. It might sound simple, but I only say this if you're injury free. If you are injured, you should lift weights more than you are currently grappling, because the deficit is a weaker area that needs strengthening. That should be the priority, and obviously grappling reduces. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. Because if you're lifting weights a similar amount to the amount in which you're on the mats, then you've got to ask yourself, what is the priority? Do you know what I mean? And people on my channel, myself in particular, grappling is the priority. My skill development, my technique development, my problem solving ability is my ultimate priority. So the lifting weight should support that, and the volume allocation, or how many sessions you do, should clearly be different to your grappling volume allocation. So if you're grappling 5 times a week, 6 times a week, 7 times a week, or 4 times a week, should be lifting twice per week. I don't really see a case for a grappler needing to lift more than 2 or 3 times per week, unless they really, really love lifting. Then it can be a little bit more than that. Me at the moment, I'm really enjoying my lifting at the moment, so I'm doing a little bit more than that. Principle number 2, keep lifting and the sport completely separate, right? Lifting, you want to follow a path of maximum strength gained. So you're going to have to lift like the strongest people in the world. Do the exercises like the strongest people in the world. And the sport, the martial art on the mat, you are going to grapple and you are going to problem solve like the best grapplers in the world. It sounds pretty obvious, but one thing that happened a lot in the past 10 years is people have tried to condense the two of these things. And what happens as a result of that, by trying to make lifting specific to jiu-jitsu by doing crazy twisting movements or kettlebells or shrimping with weight, you just don't get any of the strength benefits that you would if you just lifted the weights properly like a strong athlete, and you don't get any of the technical benefits. Keep them clearly separate, get strong, do your sport. It's so simple when you do it that way. Don't try and muddy the waters and try and do both at the same time. Jack of all trades, master of none. Why don't you just get good at that and good at that? Stop trying to do a shit version of both. Less but more. Principle number 3, less but more. Less but better is more, right? And what I mean by this is a previous version of yourself might have trained most days. I did. And when grappling is the priority, you need to think about how you can do as little as possible in the best possible manner to get the best results, right? So what I mean by this specifically is you don't need to be spending 2 hours a day in the gym. Just do 2 sessions per week. Do them really fucking well, and you're going to get amazing gains from that. So don't think for a second that you need to, I want to lift weights, I want to get stronger for jiu-jitsu. I need to train my chest on a Monday, I need to train my back on a Tuesday, and just repeat that 5 days a week. No. You're spending 5 plus maybe 7.5 hours a week on junk volume. You could condense that right down to 2 hours and be absolutely all over it with regards to standards. And you're doing less, but you're getting better results. I've got a lot of people on my program that are doing 2 or 3 lifting sessions per week and they're getting amazing results. Principle number 4, do not change your training sessions. Pick exercises in which the strongest people in the world do, because the strongest people in the world are doing the best exercises. They don't want to waste their time. It's like, what are they doing? Are they doing crazy kettlebell movements and bodyweight stuff and just weird stuff? Are they mixing stuff? Are they trying to be specific? Or are they just focusing in on strengthening their joints, moving their muscles and joints in the best possible ways? And that basically is an exercise. Yeah? Changing your training sessions means that you straight away are following an emotional pattern. And if you start following an emotional pattern, you logically cannot get results from that, right? And this is something I fell short of for probably about 10 years of my training career. I'd change my training session every week. I wouldn't get any results. I would make myself feel better, but I wouldn't get any results. More on that in a bit. Principles 5 to 7. Hunt the numbers. What I mean by this is every time you're in the gym, you must have the intent to absolutely dominate how pathetically weak the previous version of you was on the previous week. So for example, that weak, horrible version could only get 7 reps on the 35 kilogram dumbbells on a flat dumbbell chest press. You want to absolutely laugh your tits off at getting more reps than that. Because the real competition here is you versus you. It's not you versus the other person in the gym. And one thing I'll say on other people in the gym, most people in the gym are completely mincing. They're sat on machines yawning. They're sat on machines on their phone. They are not there to absolutely hunt the numbers. They are there to go through the motions. And by doing so, they are going to drive to the gym. They are going to train. They're going to drive home to the gym. They're going to probably eat certain foods based on that gym session. They're going to probably take certain supplements based off them gym sessions and their goals. They are not going to get any results. Like, I swear to God, they will get 0 results because when it gets a little bit hard, their set finishes at that point. Those people you should look at in the gym and be repulsed by. You can sit here and say, at least they're in the gym trying. No, they are wasting their time. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I was wasting my time as well for years. Just going through the motions. Well, what the hell are you doing in the gym if you're just going through the motions? You have to be willing to put 30 to 40% extra effort into every set, more than these people. Principle number 7. Carbohydrates before and after lifting is a non-negotiable. With jiu-jitsu, it's not really a non-negotiable because jiu-jitsu is a thinking sport. You don't really need that much carbohydrates for jiu-jitsu. Arguably for jiu-jitsu, you could probably get away with an electrolyte drink with a little bit of sugar, but carbohydrates before and after lifting is absolutely non-negotiable. Without carbohydrates, performance just absolutely tanks, right? So I get that January's coming up and you're probably starting to think about physical endeavors. Do not ever take carbohydrates out from around your lifting because you want to build as much strength and as much muscle mass as possible from that training session. The only way that is possible is with performance. Performance equals carbohydrates, without question. Principle number 7. 80% of your movements as part of your training program should allow the joint, the main joint that is working, to move through its full range of motion. The reason that is so important, especially for grapplers, is because if you're not moving your joints through a full range of motion, for the most part, your joints aren't going to be getting fully strong. You're not going to be developing joint resilience. You're not going to reduce any injuries. And you can do absolutely 20% of exercises that feel great. Yeah? So prioritize full range of motion exercises or variations of the exercise in which you're doing that allow greater ranges of motion, because again, our joints get fucking battered on the mat. It's so important that we're prioritising in the weight room that deficit. But absolutely, some of your favourite exercises, 20% of your programme. So what this actually looks like in reality is 4 exercises of, like, let's say a lower body session, prioritising full range of motion of the knees, and then 20% an exercise that feels great. Hopefully it makes sense. So you've got 4 exercises and then 1 exercise that feels great. 4-to-1 ratio. So where I fell short. So first and foremost, when I started grappling, I stopped lifting like an idiot, right? In the parachute regiment, physical training is a massive part of our culture. We pride ourselves on being the most physically, elite version of a soldier that is in the British Army, and we trained very hard, very regularly. The problem is, I was just doing random shit. We'd make up a session on the spot, blast the music, take pre-workout, and we'd just start going crazy. We would train hard, but we're like a bull in a china shop. We wouldn't get any results because there was no structure. There was no clear path from lifting that weight to lifting that weight on the next session, because if you do a different exercise. There was no adaptation to a previous stimulus because we were just changing shit all the time. It was embarrassing, and I cannot believe I used to do this for so long. I must have wasted thousands of hours doing this. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Problem with most guys, and I've said this, right? They don't train hard enough. It's that simple. You may think that you train hard. I couldn't give a fuck if you were in the gym for 2 hours and you eat healthy. If you do not push your sets to failure, you might as well not be there. I swear to God, you might as well be at home in bed eating pizzas. That's how seriously I am about this. If you're making the effort to go to the gym, then you have to be willing to put in that extra level of effort. And it doesn't matter. Oh, at least I'm going. Fuck off. If you want to be a weasel, right, you will literally waste decades of your life. If you get this right, you can be literally in the best shape of your life in 6, 12, 18 months' time. Like some of the guys on the program. Get this all right. It'll change your life. Anyway, all of these things that I've talked about, so important to getting results, right? You have a choice. You learn from me, who's got it wrong for 10 years, and you take these principles and just live by them. Or you don't live by them and waste 10 years of your life. If you want me to instill these principles, build you a training program, build you a nutrition plan, apply habits, mindsets, and beliefs into your life with regards to the longevity program and support you throughout the whole journey, the link is in the description to work with me on a one-to-one basis.